Hey, what it do? It's your boy King Dragon. I'm back with another episode of the Dragon's World podcast. Now, on my last episode, we was talking about rat beef, and mostly we was talking about the Meg Thee Stallion and Nicki Minaj rat beef, and we kind of touched on the revived Benzino and Eminem joint. And during that time, I had only heard the diss track that he put on his Instagram, and I was like, that was light and whack. So I didn't really feel like Eminem really needed to respond, but I was hoping he did. But since that time, it's been about a week since we did this. So since that time, um, he dropped the second disc. And the second disc, I will say, was head over heels better than the first one. Like, it wasn't even close. Wasn't even close. Honestly, when I heard his second one, I was like, shoot, this might be the best Eminem disc that I ever heard. It was, to me personally, it was better than Rap Devil because it seemed like it had more information. It was legit jabs. Um, the flow patterns were on point. Like everything about it was like just lit. And I was like, when I first heard that, I was like, yeah, M got to respond to this one. He probably could have overlooked the first one. The first one was weak, but this one right here, he got to respond to this one. Um, and I was just like, but a lot of people was pointing out the fact that it sounded like Benzino might have had a ghostwriter for the second track, and the cadences of flow patterns matched the specific artists that a lot of us know. And of course, I watch a lot of YouTube reactors. Um, I'm a real connoisseur of the reaction scene. Uh, and a lot of reactors was like pointing out that it sounded like a specific artist's flow. And there was also a reactor that is also a ghostwriter that's plugged into the scene who actually put some names on it. Said it sounded like he had, you know, firsthand knowledge of somebody who was at the studio during the recording of this and can, you know, almost guarantee that Cassidy was a part of the making of this diss track. And if you heard the diss track, then it does somewhat sound like Cassidy's flow. So then, of course, Benzino does a couple of interviews and a couple just random, uploads uh, in the car or whatever. And he admits that he had about four. He never puts any names on uh, anything to. He never puts any names on who was in the studio with him, but he did admit that he had help writing. And for me, that was enough for me to not really care to hear Eminem response. And I don't say, like, for the integrity of, like, my only reason for actually wanting Eminem to respond is because I'm a big stand on the lyrics that you stand on them lyrics that you wrote type. And Eminem did definitely write the line, "If you diss me, I'm coming after you," like the letter V. So for the integrity of that line, I would love and for the integrity of just uh rap beefs, I would love for Eminem to respond. But the fact that Benzino admitted that he had help writing his second diss, kind of dampers it for me. I mean, I still would like for Eminem to respond, but like if he didn't, whatever. Cause I mean, for me, we all know I'm a music artist myself. I'm rocking the King Dragon merch right now. But like for me, as an artist, I write all my lyrics. All my lyrics come from me. No, I don't have help writing my lyrics. None of that. Like the most I ever like, I got a solid team myself, and the most I've ever had anybody help me with musically was maybe during the recording process tripping up a few times on the same lyric. They might mention maybe a shorter way or a flip of how I wrote it, so it'll flow a little bit, so I can try to make it flow a little bit better. But never have I can say anybody has given me like complete lines or like wrote anything for me. If anything, I wrote stuff for other people, like the start of verses for people. Um, but yeah, for me that kind of put a damper on it for me. Um, but still, for the sake of battle rapper and the hip hop genre, I would like for Eminem to respond, but at the same time, Benzino got to shut up because you can't win the battle in the internet, and telling everybody that you had help writing your diss ain't really moving the needle either. As far as the Meg Thee Stallion Nicki thing, after further thinking about it, I mean, Meg hasn't responded, and Nicki hasn't put out any other diss, though she did say she would do the second installment uh, Meg didn't respond in 24 hours or something like that. I'm personally, I kind of get why Meg isn't responding now that it's been about a week or so. It makes sense. Because during this week after this disc has dropped, Meg has been on. She's announced that she's dropping an album in the summer. She's also announced that she inked the distribution deal with Warner Music Group and she'll maintain all her masters and publishing and things like that, but she'll be distributing uh, through Warner under her label. I guess it's Hot Girl Production or something like that. Um, so I kind of understand why Meg isn't responding now. She can't respond. There's no way she could respond right now. And I've heard, and I be in them Twitter streets, or X as it's called now, and a lot of people is like, oh, the Bigfoot song didn't deserve a response. And as I said with Eminem, for the sake of hip hop genre, if somebody diss you, I feel like you should respond. However, Nicki and Meg are in two separate spots of their career right now. I wouldn't say their career, because overall, I still think Nicki is the better artist. But when it comes to the conversation on where they are, like today, with Meg announcing that she has an album coming, and her jab at Nicki coming in a single release rather than it being like what Nicki did, which is a quick 48-hour turnaround song, which wasn't as good. But when you get a full rollout album single, it's supposed to be a better song than somebody who's just responding to something you said within that song. But back to what I was saying. What I'm saying is Meg can't respond right now because Meg is in album rollout mode. And album rollout mode means everything you do from now to till the point where her album finally comes out has to be about the rollout. What I mean, what for those who not in the music industry, rollout is basically uh, what an artist does leading to a release. It's basically promotion. Everything that she does from now to whenever she drops this album, whatever the release date is, has to be about promotion of what's to come from the album. So every song release has to be like a calculated banger to bring publicity to make people want to listen to the album. Every interview has to be uh, something everything has to be to make sure that she's drawing all the attention to this coming album. All the attention has to be there. So her responding to Nicki right now could could hinder could hinder that because if you're trying to promote me an album, I don't really want to. People not really gonna want to hear her going back and forth with Nicki prior to an album because then they'll expect that album to also be full of back and forth or things of that nature. As for Nicki, on the other hand, her album's already out. Her album's already out. Her album's already done numbers. Her album is still continuously doing numbers. Even though the Bigfoot song is not doing as many numbers as Meg's his song, but it's really not supposed to. It's really not supposed to. Like when it comes to a diss track charting is really not something we look for anyway when it comes to back and forth diss tracks. Like, I mean, I get it. Like the numbers were looking good, but as far as it goes, when it comes to like as far as it go when it comes to like actual numbers, we it's more about the integrity of I dissed you, you got to diss back, than actually caring about like actually caring about the numbers. But I see people on Twitter comparing the numbers and acting as if Nicki's Bigfoot song having less um, sales or streams than the his song is such a bad thing when it's really not, because if you think about it, his was a calculated single release, which means that song was probably done months ago, or if not months ago, at least yeah, probably months ago, probably at minimum a month ago, for her to be able to prepare and roll out and promote that she was getting ready to drop a new single. So that song had to be done, and that was an album quality song. Well, yeah, that was an album quality single. What Nicki did wasn't an album quality song. It was, oh, you said you took a jab at me, I'm a jab back as fast as possible. So I mean, quality wise, it would have been good to have a better quality song, but like to be honest, I can understand why it wasn't as good of a quality song. So yeah, but yeah, I mean that's just how I feel about it. Um, I've seen a couple reactors. I follow Screwface John on YouTube and on Twitter because I actually really I like how Screwface gives unbiased opinion. And usually, and when he first put out that Benzino had the best diss track, of all the diss tracks we ever heard against Eminem, I initially agreed with him. Like I quoted his tweet, and I agree with the sentiments that M had to respond. But like I said, with updated information, I have an updated opinion on that subject. With like I said, I still would like for M to respond. But like if he doesn't, like you had four people help you write this diss track. But I mean, it's hip hop, so I still, for the integrity of hip hop, I need him to just come on, smack him up a little bit. Cause there's no question that he's the better artist, of course, but that was a very very deep um, diss track though. That diss track was touching on some stuff that most of us didn't even know nothing about for real. Uh, but I think that's all I got to say about that. I had something else I wanted to talk about, but I can't think of what it is right now. For me musically, I guess I'll take this time to segue into my own, talk about some of the stuff from my own music. Last week I recorded a song and I'm excited about it because it was me trying some new stuff that I ain't really done before, and I'm excited to hear how it come out. Send it to my boy. He gonna do the mix and the mastering on it. Um, Recorded it right here though, right here. So if you're an artist, I encourage you to at least get you uh some sort of setup where you can at least record vocals, because with the way people engineer now, you can, if you can record your own vocals and just send people stems of your vocals, you can do it saves you some in studio time. Even though you still gotta pay for the mix. But I got a simple mic, you probably can't see it. You can't see it. I got the little width. That's what I'm bumping with right now. And it's just I want me a. I'm thinking about taking this off though. Cause I don't really like it like that no more. Um, but that's just like a enclosed space for it to keep the soundproof in it. But I don't really want. I really want kind of like the eyeball that kind of just covers the mic. But I get clear vocals as is right now, and it's been working for the podcast. I was using that mic back there. That was an old studio mic I had, but it was kind of cheap, and I was using it for the podcast when I was doing my podcast off. When I was just doing the audio version of the podcast, and I was using my iPad. Because right now I'm using my desktop, and I bought me a little webcam. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. At this point, I'm just rambling. Do y'all feel like Eminem should respond to Benzino? Do you think Meg should still respond to Nicki, even though she's rolling out an album? Hit the comment section. Let me know how you feeling. It's your boy King Dragon. I'm out of here.